Ross Turlington of Delaware County, Oklahoma. And the purpose of this video is to inform you of how we can rid Delaware County of the street crime that has ruined it, at least to the extent that it is unnoticeable by the average productive citizen or child or retiree. The bottom line is that as long as criminals are comfortable here, they're going to be here. They're not going to leave. What we need is to make Delaware County a place that criminals don't want to be. And what we have is a criminal for a district attorney who coddles snitches. We have a revolving door policy here. It's a informant-based prosecution system where no one does time. Very, very, very few people do time. I'm going to show you a video clip of our sheriff-elect from a question and answer forum about 2 months ago before he was elected.
I'm a court-appointed special advocate for children in the deprived and neglected court in Delaware County. There are currently over 200 cases in the deprived and neglected courts in this county. And it seems that as many as 90% of the cases involve methamphetamine and or heroin use by parents or caregivers. I think it's pretty common knowledge that meth and heroin are prolific in this county. So my two questions are, what will you do to address that?
Okay, only thing we can do is go after the big dogs, the one that's making it. You will never stop it. Never, ever will you ever see the end of it.
That was Delaware County Sheriff's candidate, who was later elected, Mark Berry, telling his constituents, or who would have been his constituents, you will never stop it, never ever will you see the end of it, in reference to Delaware County's prolific heroin and meth problem. Just live with it. That's a hell of a statement. Remember, that was spoken in context of our community. It's not a commentary on the national drug problem where there's always going to be. He's talking about vision, what you see as a community member. Evidence of this crime is always, you're always going to see it, according to Mr. Berry. Well, now I will tell you that I am eligible by statute for office of sheriff, which I don't want and don't want to be. I don't want to be a politician. But I can tell you that were I the sheriff, that you as a member of our community within 6 months would no longer see evidence, not on a regular basis and not at all after a year, of this prolific heroin and methamphetamine problem. Specifically, I'm talking about the thievery, just the trash. Our community just turned to trash, just dirty and nasty now. And scam artists. That's a big percentage of the crimes committed are by people or in the trades. Go out, they tell people they're going to roof a house or tear down or cut down trees in the yard or whatever for money, and then they swindle people. There's a whole lot of swindling with old people here, retirement. But I'm telling you that the crime that results from this drug use and the addiction to this drug use can be stopped to the point that the average law-abiding citizen, working man, retiree, housewife, kid, just normal people don't know what's going on here. Just before then candidate Barry admitted his position that his constituents would never see the end of heroin and meth-related crime in his community in 2014. But before I do that, I'll show you a little excerpt from my book about a drug bust that took place shortly after our district attorney, Kenny Wright, framed me for shooting one of his snitches, who was a felon drug dealer / felon thief / felon burglar, who received another meth felony while he was state's witness against me, a retired military man, disabled veteran, family man. For time constraints, I'll limit the following to the last 5 years. FBI statistics are available for Delaware County crime, which happens to start the year I moved back with my family, and also happens to be shortly before City Boy Kenny Wright took over as DA, when the previous DA, Eddie Chomporn Wyatt, ran back to the city where he's from. As most of you know, I'm a disabled veteran, retired from the military, and I left in the 80s to enlist in the military. And most of you know that in 2014, 8 days after my return to Delaware County, I shot a violent multiple felon and protected drug informant who managed to get convicted of his 4th Arkansas felony while he was DA Kenny Wright's only witness against me. Of course, most of you also remember that my defense attorney, former Delaware County Assistant DA Winston Connor, was charged by the State Attorney General and indicted on 10 felony charges. One of them was for soliciting murder from Slent Tate, who was in prison and leading a drug ring in Ottawa and Delaware counties. Now, that drug raid took place in 2016, and as you can see from looking at his FBI statistics, the following year the crime rate went up. Any police scientist, anyone who studies criminal justice, understands that if you can make a sizable enough bust to affect the street price of drugs, then the price goes up for drugs. Supply and demand. When the price goes up, more crime is committed by addicts so they can get their hands on their drugs that cost more until the market settles back down. In summary, the citizens in our community are paying for this enormous drug task force to arrest drug makers and drug importers whose crimes have no direct impact on the law-abiding citizens, while District Attorney Kenny Wright releases violent and dangerous criminals back into the community to prey on citizens directly in exchange for their snitch testimony, which eventually leads to the big arrests. And every day, violent crime rates and property crime rates climb higher and higher. The truth is that demand follows supply, not the other way around. If Kenny Wright actually prosecuted the criminals that our honest cops send him to prosecute, then it wouldn't take a month for word to get around that criminals are punished in Delaware and Ottawa County, and our community would quickly lose its appeal to those criminals, and those criminals would leave our judicial district for another judicial district that had a district attorney who was soft on crime, like the district attorney we have now, Kenny Wright. And the, quote, big dogs would follow. Stay tuned for part 2 of How to Fight Drug-Related Crime, in which I will give more examples of Kenny Wright protecting violent criminals in our community, except this time I will name the arresting officers in each of those cases so they'll know that their efforts are wasted with a pussy carpetbagger like District Attorney Kenny Wright in charge. And then in part 3, I'll tell the good cops, as well as the law-abiding citizens in our community, how they can fight these criminals directly and circumvent DA Kenny Wright's police informant protection policies. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support.
Lay down like that in Arkansas, and in Missouri too. But down in Oklahoma, cook bears through Pontoon, down in Louisiana, up and down the Gulf Shore. I hear in California, they sell it in the store. But you'll never get any bigger. So get some sleep, you tweaker.